The winter of 1941 wrapped Warsaw, Poland in a cold thicker than fear. German soldiers patrolled every street, boots stamping on frozen ground. Behind tall wooden walls was the Warsaw Ghetto, where thousands of Jewish families were trapped, starving, sick, terrified. Among them were children, many no older than 5 or 6, their eyes dull from hunger. Outside these walls lived a 31-year-old social worker named Irena Sendler. She was small, quiet, and seemed harmless. Just another woman walking to work with a worn brown coat and an old leather bag. But inside her heart burned a courage the world would not recognize until decades later. Every day, Irena saw Jewish mothers pressing their faces between the gaps in the wooden wall, whispering desperate pleas. "Please save my child. If they stay here, they will die." Irena didn't look away. She couldn't. She knew she had to do something, anything, no matter the cost, so she joined a secret underground group and entered the ghetto pretending to be a sanitation worker. Her job? Inspect homes for disease. The Germans believed her. They let her inside. They never suspected the truth. Irena's real mission was to smuggle out children. Day after day, she walked into the ghetto with her old leather bag and walked out carrying hope. Sometimes a baby slept inside her toolbox. Sometimes a little child hid under blankets in her cart. Sometimes she trained a dog to bark loudly to cover a child's cries as she passed German guards. Every time she worked, death stared her in the face. If caught, not only she but every child she carried would be shot on sight. But Irena kept going, whispering to each frightened child, "You will live. I promise." She wrote every child's real name on slips of paper and buried them inside glass jars under an apple tree, hoping one day, when the war ended, their families would find them again. And yet, despite her courage, danger was rising. German officers had begun to suspect someone was helping the ghetto children escape. They didn't know who, but they were getting closer, too close. And one cold night, as Irena returned home with frost on her coat and fear in her chest, she found something waiting at her door, something that would change everything. The night courage was tested. The moment Irena stepped onto her porch, she froze. A black German officer's coat hung over her door. Beside it lay a note stamped with an eagle emblem. "Report to the Gestapo headquarters immediately." Her heart pounded. They knew, or at least suspected. The children she saved flashed before her eyes. If she stayed silent, they would suffer. If she spoke, everyone would die. The next morning, with trembling hands, she tightened her old brown coat and walked into the cold streets. Every step echoed like a countdown to death. She reached the gray stone building of the Gestapo, its doors heavy, its hallways filled with screams that rose from deep underground. A tall German officer, his face expressionless, stared into her eyes. "You visit the ghetto too often," he said. "For sanitation inspections," she replied, forcing her voice not to shake. He leaned closer. "Do not lie to us. Someone is smuggling out Jewish children. We think it is you." Irena felt her breath collapse in her chest. Her hands felt cold enough to shatter, but she held her ground, whispering, "I only treat disease. Nothing more." The officer slammed his fist on the table. "Enough. If we find you guilty, we will hang you in the street." For hours, they interrogated her, threats, shouting, accusations. But she said nothing. Not a single name. Not one detail that could endanger a child. At last the officer leaned back. "You are being watched. One mistake and you die." Irena stumbled out of the building, shaken but alive. The world outside felt sharper, every shadow suspicious, every sound threatening. But she did not go home. She went straight back to the ghetto wall, because fear could not stop her. Not now, not ever. As the months passed, the situation grew darker. The Germans began liquidating parts of the ghetto, families torn apart, children dragged into trucks, screams filling the air like smoke. Irena knew time was running out. She and her underground group worked night and day, smuggling children through sewers, hiding them in churches, carrying infants inside suitcases. Each rescue was a miracle. Each night felt like her last. But she kept digging jar after jar under that apple tree. Names, birthdays, parents' last word, preserving the memory of families that might never be reunited. Then on October 20th, 1943, the Gestapo burst into her home. She had been betrayed. They handcuffed her, beat her, dragged her into the same gray Gestapo building she feared. This time there were no questions. There was only pain and a death sentence. As she lay bleeding on a cold floor, she heard the officer whisper, "Tomorrow at dawn, you will be executed." The jars beneath the apple tree. Dawn approached slowly, turning the sky pale gray as Irena lay bruised and barely conscious on the cold prison floor. Her hands were swollen from the beatings. Her vision flickered. She whispered the only thing that mattered. "The children. Don't let them find the children." 2 guards dragged her outside toward the wooden post where prisoners were executed. Her legs buckled with every step. She knew this was the end, but she also knew she had kept every child safe. Not one name had passed her lips. Just as the officer raised his pistol, a soldier ran forward with a paper in his hand, shouting, "Stop! She's been bribed! Release her!" The Gestapo officer hesitated. The underground resistance had paid a massive bribe, risking their own lives to save Irena. The officer smirked. "Fine, let her rot in the streets instead." They broke her legs, threw her in a ditch, and left her to die. But Irena did not die. Members of the secret group found her, carried her to safety, and hid her under a false identity. From that moment on to the Nazis, Irena Sendler was officially a dead woman, which meant she could keep saving lives even if she had to crawl. When the war finally ended in 1945, Irena returned to the place where she had buried her hope, the old apple tree behind a crumbling church. She dug with shaking hands, one jar, then another, and another. Inside each jar were names, tiny pieces of paper soaked with time and tears. She worked day and night, reuniting as many children as possible with any surviving relatives. Many families were gone. Some parents had died in camps, but the children lived, alive because of a woman who risked everything for people she didn't know. Years later, when the world learned what she had done, the 2,500 children she had saved, they asked her only one question: "Where did you find such courage?" Irena smiled softly and said, "I could have done more. I could have done more." In her last years, she lived quietly. No pride, no fame, just gratitude that the children had lived. Many of them grew up to become doctors, teachers, musicians, parents, lives that existed because of the woman with jars under an apple tree. And today, her story remains a reminder for the whole world. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it limps. Sometimes it hides papers in jars and carries hope in old coat pockets. Heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they wear compassion. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon for more real-life inspiring stories. See you in the next tale.